Arne Slot is not good enough. He's just another Ten Hag. I bet you've been seeing these posts on social media for the past 48 hours, right? After Xabi Alonso decided to stay at Bayer Leverkusen and after talks between Ruben Amorim and Liverpool being stalled, Arne Slot, who is the manager of Feyenoord, who is a Dutch manager in the Eredivisie, is slowly becoming the next favourite. Liverpool even suggesting that they have started talks with the new Dutch manager. Now we all know the jump from the Eredivisie to the Premier League is a big one, and not many people are convinced that Arne will slot perfectly into the Premier League. See the pun there? But wasn't it the same when Ruben Amorim and Xabi Alonso were first linked with Liverpool? In this video, I'm not trying to convince you that Arne is the perfect fit for Liverpool. Instead, I'm going to tell you what his tactics are, what his plan is, what his achievements have been in his career so far at Feyenoord. But as always, before getting into it, I hope you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for more updates regarding football. In 2019, Arne took over as the head coach of AZ Alkmaar, and while his term ended on rocky terms, it's undeniable that he left his mark. Here's why. He was the first manager at AZ to scoop up 19 points in his first 8 games, also held the team to second place, finished just behind Ajax on goal difference when the 2019-2020 season was abruptly cancelled due to COVID, with an average of 2.11 points per game in the Eredivisie, the highest of any coach in the club's history. Slot certainly made his presence felt, but as we said, it wasn't a fairy tale ending with the club. In fact, his time at AZ came to an abrupt end halfway through his second season when he was sacked for negotiating with Feyenoord just 10 days after his dismissal. Slot and Feyenoord finalized an agreement for him to take over the helm starting with the 2021-2022 season, and that's where Arne truly began to carve out his reputation just like he did with AZ. Arne Slot continued to punch above his weight at Feyenoord. He led the team to the round of 16 in European football for the first time in 20 years, but that was just the beginning. Set aside the fact that he reached the Conference League final in the first season, because in his second year he clinched the league title with Feyenoord, and while it looks like they might lose the title to PSV Hoffenheim this season, he is not having a trophyless campaign as he has already secured the Dutch Cup. You might think that these achievements aren't that impressive considering many see the Dutch league as one of the weaker ones among the top 7 European leagues. Look at Erik ten Hag, who despite the successes at with Ajax is finding the Premier League challenging, but here's why it's different when it comes to Slot. Back during his days at AZ, he was vying for the 2020 title against the Ajax with far fewer resources. The same goes for the league title he did with Feyenoord. Currently, Feyenoord has the third highest wage budget in the Eredivisie at Euro 25 million, trailing behind PSV 30 million and Ajax is 440 million. See, winning the league with Ajax is one thing, but challenging him winning the title with another Eredivisie side is another. Last season, he broke Ajax's 5-year record hold on the Eredivisie, losing just one league game out of 34, or while managing a team with an average age of just 22. 8 years, and that's just another point in his favour. Slot has a strong belief in youth during his tenure, and he's promoted several academy players to the first team, turning them into key players. The cornerstone of Slot's management style is his clarity and communication. He lives by the motto that 60% of his success is the idea itself and 40% is how clearly you can communicate that. His players know exactly what's expected of them in every phase of play. See, Feyenoord bought in Eredivisie specifically to assemble a new team with a distinctive style of play, and that's exactly what he achieved by trusting young talent and implementing his approach. And this brings us to the start. Arne during the title winning campaign, Slot mainly used the 4-2-3-1 formation, which is reminiscent of Jurgen Klopp's early tactics at Anfield, and although this lineup remains his favourite, this season he has started to use a 4-3-3 more often. Slot's tactical approach also shows similarities to the German style. So let's delve deeper into this Slot. Slot prides himself on delivering entertaining football no matter which team he is managing, and much like Klopp, he focuses on high intensity play that emphasizes counter pressing and winning the ball back quickly. Take a look at this graph, which highlights how similar both teams perform in the current campaign. Now, sure, there are two noticeable differences in counter-attacks and defensive strategies, which we'll explore later, but for now let's focus on the similarities in terms of pressing. Feyenoord is ranked second, allowing only 10.2 passes per defensive action, just slightly more than PSV. Check out these two moments where Feyenoord pressed AZ Alkmaar extremely high up the pitch right from the start of the game when it was still nil-nil, but also later on after they opened the score. And here's another example of the high-end aggressive pressing, this time against Roma at the Stadio Olimpico. During the latest Europa League match, each fullback and centre-backs commit to the press as they maintained a high defensive line to minimize the space. And this leads up to another similarity with Klopp's tactics, the counter press, and how effectively Feyenoord capitalizes on regaining possession high up the park. They've scored 11 goals from a total of 344 high turnovers, making them the leaders in the Eredivisie for this statistic. They also lead the league in defensive actions, leading to shots with 17, which have resulted in 4 goals. Don't worry, I've got a demonstration of their counter pressing. This is from the recent 6-0 demolition of Ajax in the league. In this instance, Feyenoord had just lost possession from a long ball, but notice how their forwards positioned themselves high and close to one another to compress the space and limit the opposing team's options as soon as the Ajax players received the pass. Full forwards initiated the counter press. They strategically cut off the passing lanes, creating a perfect scenario for a high turnover, while Ajax's formation was visibly disorganized, in fact fold. Scored 3 goals from high turnovers during that game, and it was all thanks to the aggressive counter press. The moment the Pharaohs midfield sensed that Ajax player didn't have full control of the ball, he pounced pressing aggressively. He succeeded in his duel, which led to a high turnover and subsequently a 4th goal for Ferrari. But what happened when this aggressive press is bypassed? Feyenoord often shifts to either a 5-2-3 or a 5-4-1 mid-block, with one of the pivots dropping back to join the defensive line. This adjustment provides a solid defensive structure to counter any potential threats from breaking the press. Now, there's another interesting thing. When it comes to Feyenoord's defensive configuration, see, we said that one of the pivots drops to join the defensive line. However, the second pivot stays extremely close to the back line, allowing Far to shift into a back 6. Quickly, unlike Liverpool, this proceeds Feyenoord with greater defensive stability, enabling them to effectively close down spaces. This approach is reflected in their defensive record, boasting the second best defense in the league and the lowest expected goals allowed at 22 xGA. So now that we got off the possession approach out of the way, let's see how Feyenoord play with the ball. Here is out, because this is where it becomes more different. Unlike many Eredivisie teams, they rely on quick transitions and direct attacks. Feyenoord adapts a slower, more meticulous approach. They are second in the league for build-up attacks with 126, but only 9th in terms of direct ball progression, moving forward at a speed of 1.82 meter per second. So let's delve deeper into how they build up. Think of Slot as being more similar to Roberto Duran than to Klopp in this phase. Slot prefers a possession-based game, with Feyenoord averaging the second highest possession rate in the league at 61.5% during their deep build-up phases. Feyenoord likes to draw opponents in by inviting pressure. They skillfully play out from the back, often using their goalkeeper in a 22+1 build-up formation. The centre-backs typically position themselves on the either side of the goalkeeper with a pivot dropping deep to facilitate the play. As shown in the following image, you can see how one of the fullbacks typically inverts to join the build-up while the other pushes up to maintain width along the flank. This strategy of baiting the press demands that the players involved in the build-up not only possess high technical skills but also the ability to handle pressure effectively. This is part of why Feyenoord boasts 4 players among the top 13 in the league for carrying the ball. The 3 graphs you're seeing on the screen highlight just how technically proficient Feyenoord centre-backs, full-backs and midfielders are. These visuals underscore the skill level across different positions on the field. So what happens when the play advances up to the field? That's when Feyenoord transitions into a 4-2 or 2-4 build-up, shaped depending on the positional needs and dynamics of the game. In the attacking third, Feyenoord typically pushes forwards with 5 players. The wingers stretch the play by holding the width. 2 center midfielders fill the central and half spaces, and the striker positions himself in high central area. However, true to the style of any of the team, Arne Slot's Feyenoord demonstrates considerable flexibility in their positional play in the previous picture. It was the right back who held the width on the right hand side, but let's give you another example. Consider the goal against Ajax earlier in the season. In this instant, a pass was directed into the central areas and collected by the number 9 Jimenez, who dropped deep to receive it, while Igor Pexo, the left winger, maintained the width on his side. Quinton Timber surged into the left half space. Through the immediate focus might be on Timber, who provided the assist, and Hims, who finished the play. It's crucial to observe Paco inverted his run from the left wing. The movement not only creates a distraction but also generates numerical superiority in and around the box, further unsettling Ajax's attack and paving the way for a strategic execution of the goal. The constant rotation and flexible positional play allow Feyenoord to threats from various angles. The midfielders or eights make dynamic runs from deep into the box. The wingers have the option to cut inside, which allows the fullback to overlap, and the number 9 has the flexibility to drop deep, serving as a pivot for the build-up. Yes, it's undeniable that the leap from the Eredivisie to the Premier League is a massive one, and stepping into a role at Liverpool poses an even greater challenge. However, Arne Slot's career merits serious consideration, and his coaching methods are highly respected in the Netherlands. He is known as an excellent communicator who prides to work within structure framework rather than taking matters into his own hands, which will perfectly fit within Liverpool's new structure approach for those wondering. Yes, he speaks perfect English. So what do you think about Arne Slot as the new top contender to take over at Anfield? Is it too risky, a move for Redwoods and his team, or will Arne Slot perfectly fit into Liverpool's setup? I hope this analysis has answered your questions about Arne Slot. If you enjoyed my breakdown, please remember to hit the like and subscribe button for more football deep dive talks. Thank you, and I'll see you for the next time. Take care and see you.